everyone, welcome back to Pagan's Progress. My name is Lucas and I am back with another video. So recently I kind of started a bit of a healing journey, kind of like an emotional / spiritual healing journey, trying to do some shadow work and stuff. And it kind of hit like a freight train to the face. So it actually manifested in my body as physical illness. So I got some sort of upper respiratory viral infection that the doctors couldn't really figure out. And I got laid out for like 3.5 weeks. It was great. Lost my voice, had trouble breathing. It was great. And then while that was happening, the megacorp that manages the units that I live in severed our electrical line while they were doing some work on the building, and I was without power for like 3.5 days. All of our food like spoiled. Everything was like, yeah, it was not good. So the universe and everything was just kind of like, you need to take a bit of a break. So I did. I took its advice. So I've been laying low, but because of that, I decided to, it kind of like gave me an idea of what I wanted to talk about next in the video. So this video is going to be about healing stones, a very specific folkloric practice from my family. So if you are interested in learning about magical healing, stick around and I will tell you what that's all about. All right, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around with me so far through my ramble and opener. So let's get down to business. So today I will be talking about healing stones, which, like I said, is a very particular practice from my family. As always, feel free to take what you learn here and adapt it to your own practice however you see fit, or take nothing from it and just kind of see how the other half lives. It's always good to see how other people are working. Kind of expands your worldview and steps you out of the box, I guess you could say. Never hurts to see and experience what other people are doing. So, what are healing stones? So sometimes in our lives we can find ourselves in need of healing, whether that be physical, emotional, or spiritual. I know in the last few months I've needed a lot of all three. Sometimes we need or want a little bit of magical assistance to aid us in our healing, to kind of like help speed things up or speed them along. And that's where this kind of simple ritual or spell can help you out. So now this is not in any way me saying that you should be using magic as the sole method of healing ourselves or yourselves. Always listen to the advice of medical professionals. Seek out help if you need it, and take your medications, whatever they may be. But this is just a magical supplement to things that are already in place. Yeah. So, this here is a healing stone. I was actually able to find this one on a camping trip I had several years ago, and it has been with me ever since. You can see here that there is nothing overly special about it. It is just a water-smoothed, medium-sized stone. Nicely fits in the palm. It's basically just a rock. It's not really a crystal or anything special. It's just a rock. So how does it work? Well, they act almost like a boost of good magical energy and vitality, as well as a filter and trap for illness and negative energies. But more on that in a bit. I'm going to explain that a little bit further as we get going. So let's get started, and I'll go over why this simple kind of unassuming stone packs a pretty big punch, and it can aid in your magical healing. So traditionally, this practice was used almost exclusively for physical illness and like similar types of ailments. But I've found through my own practice and adaptations that it actually works very well for other types of healing as well, like emotional or spiritual. When performing this practice, it's best to start with assessing the problem. Is this something you're doing for yourself, or is it for another person? If it is for yourself, are you in a state in which you can do this for yourself? If not, try seeking assistance from a witchy friend, as spell work and ritual isn't always recommended when you're sick. It can kind of drain you further, and you might not be in like the right headspace to go into like spell work and ritual. Something else that you might want to ask yourself is, what are you trying to aid in healing? Is it a physical illness, a spiritual block, or emotional turmoil, something like that? These are all kind of like essential questions to ask, as they will help you to determine what kind of stone you are looking for. So there are two types of stones that you can use in this style of working. The first is a single-use stone. So these are often used for something you'd like to quickly purge from your system. So that can be a physical illness like colds, coughs, fevers, that kind of thing, or it can be like an intense emotional surge that you're having trouble kind of working through and processing. So it's not really something that's going to be an ongoing problem. It's just something that you want to get out as quickly as possible. And I find these stones tend to be on the smaller side. The second is a long-term stone. So I find these types of stones are better for long-term spiritual and emotional healing. Something like working through trauma, delving into intense shadow work, something like that. Something that's really going to take like a lot of time and effort and isn't going to be just like kind of a one-off. Now, these ones are usually used more than once. For example, the one I showed earlier, this one, is one that I've been using to help heal my own childhood traumas. So it's been with me for a while. It's been with me for several years now, actually. And it's one that I just keep continuing to use. And I will continue to work with it until I feel the time is right to stop. So typically, I found that these types of stones seem to be on the medium to larger size, as you'll need more storage space, I guess you could say, for the ritual. So the larger the stone, the more storage capacity, hence them tend to be a little bit bigger. So once you have your idea for the type of stone you want for your ailment that you're looking to heal, it's time to go out and find it. And this is where our working begins. So traditionally, you would go down to your local body of water, usually a place of sacred importance, like a holy well or river. Or you could go to a place where you have good relations with the nature spirits there. So it could be anywhere like a river, a lake, stream, creek, to the ocean, a natural spring, whatever you, wherever you would like to go, as long as it holds a significance to you, it will usually work for you. So once there, you would then call out with your intentions and look for the stone that you're seeking. You can even say like a little incantation, or simply just kind of call out to it with your mind and energies, whatever works best for you. I suggest in this moment that you even call out to your guides, spirits, gods, etc. to aid you in finding the stone that you're looking for. You may even want to call out to the spirit of the location to aid you as well. Then you simply just look for it. So open yourself up, feel, don't think. Let your spirits, guides, and gods direct you to it. You want to look for something that has been smoothed and carved by the flowing of the water. Something that has been submerged, shaped, and carved out by the liminality of that water is going to be exceptionally powerful. So the Celtic people saw water as a almost like a gateway or a portal or a liminal space to the other world. And as a result, stone like that, submerged within that possibility, that womb-like space, that possibility was an incredibly powerful thing. So something shaped by that gives its power and potential. It connects it to the other world and its energies, and just makes it incredibly magical. So you'll probably find it near or at the water's edge. You might have to dig around a little bit in the bank to uncover it, but once you find it, I find, at least in my experience, you will just know. It's it's a very interesting sensation when you come across them, but you'll look at it and you're just like, that's it. That's the one I'm looking for. Almost like it's calling out to you as well, just like you're calling out to it. Now, I think it's important to mention at this point, don't go out and hoard a whole bunch of them. It's best to only take what you need. If you want, I will occasionally take 1 or 2 extra to kind of have in case, just to kind of keep from my own supply. But I wouldn't suggest taking anything extra or more than that. When you're collecting in nature, it's best to only take what you need. Plus, if you do take a lot and keep them sitting around for too long without using them, the energies can kind of grow stagnant and begin to dissipate. When you're getting something, you always want it to be fresh. You always want it to be just plucked from or harvested, because it keeps it as potent as possible. But yeah, don't hoard. Allow nature to have what it's supposed to have, and only take what you need. So once you've collected the stone that you need, bring it home, and this is the most crucial step out of all of them. You're gonna want to wash it thoroughly. You don't want any dirt or bacteria, parasites, anything like that from the water source to affect you in any sort of way. So scrub it down, clean it well. You don't want to add any more illnesses to the already pre-existing problem. So just make sure it's nice and clean, give it a rinse, give it a scrub, and get it nice and clean. Once it's clean, you're ready to begin the actual ritual/spell portion. So, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a binding sigil for the purpose of this healing. There is one that is very specific to my family for this working. I don't think I'm going to share that, as it is a little bit personal to me and my family. But if you already have a sigil out there that could be used for this purpose, by all means, go out and use it. If not, it's now a great time to flex your creative muscles when it comes to sigil making, and keep the intention of healing, trapping, and binding into an object for the sake of healing. Once you have created your sigil, you're going to want to put that symbol onto one of the flat parts of the stone. So you can usually do this by painting the sigil onto it, which I find works best for single-use kind of quick workings. Or if you have a Dremel or like a carving tool, you can engrave it onto the face of the stone as well. I find that this usually works best for multi-use long-term type stones, as it's more of a permanent sigil, but it really depends. I will also say, if you are going to use paint, make sure that it is non-toxic, it is biodegradable, and that it's not going to harm the environment, because this will be going back into nature, and you do not want to be poisoning anything, anyone, or upsetting any spirits, because they will come for you. If you are performing this on yourself, get into a comfortable position, or if you are performing it on someone else, ensure that the patient is comfy and easily accessible. I find that laying down on the floor or a bed is probably the best position. At this point, you can initiate a circle, kind of like whatever your pre-ritual stuff is, so casting a circle, cleansing, that kind of thing. What I would normally do is I would do a quick sanding of the house or the space, a little bit of a cleanse, make sure that I'm good, the space is good, and we're ready to go. Traditionally in my family, this would not be performed with a huge circle kind of situation set up. I tend to work very folklorically, and we don't necessarily cast space all the time. So I would not, but if you feel that would help the situation, by all means do so. So once your space is set up, you or your patient is comfortable, what you're going to want to do is take your stone and place it flat in between your two hands. And this is where some people might get a little grossed out, but what you are going to do is you are going to lick the stone on the edge from the bottom to the top. Now, this is a very important step, as what you are doing is you are establishing a connection between you and the stone and the kind of like spirit or magic that dwells within. You are giving a piece of yourself, a bit of your essence, aka your saliva, to the stone, and you are receiving a bit of it into yourself as well, its energy, essence, and power. It acts a bit like an offering, but also an exchange, showing that you're willing to interact with and form a partnership with this object and spirit. Basically, you're giving a bit of yourself to it so it can use that energy to kind of bolster itself. It's kind of like a payment or a thank you for its help. So once that kind of connection is formed and the two of you are kind of on the same wavelength, you're going to want to get a connection flowing between the two of you. So this is typically done through the exchanging of breath. You will want both your energies to start passing between the link that you've just created. You want its energy to flow into your body, and then for your energies to flow out of you and into it, creating an energetic cycle. So you do this by keeping the stone in between your hands, placing it in front of your face, and having you or the patient breathe into and through it. So inhale and exhale into the stone. I'm not going to continue to do it because I really don't want to actually perform anything here right now. But just continue to do that until you can start to feel it passing between the two of you. So with each inhale, feel it come into you. And then with each exhale, you breathe out and back into it. And kind of have that continued cyclical exchange where it's flowing from you into it and then back into you. Because you're wanting to create that energetic cycling between the two of you. So once you feel that that cycle or flow has been established, you'll just kind of know in that moment when the time is right. You're going to want to then take the stone and place it onto the area that's the problem. So some examples would be is you can put it, if you're having like issues with like emotions or trauma, you can place it on your heart. If you can place it on your lungs if you are sick and kind of like have a cough or like a really bad cold. If you're having like bad sinus issues, you could put it on your forehead, near your third eye, etc. But basically you just kind of want to place it where the problem is. All right, so you've created the connection. You've started that cyclical flowing between the two of you. You've placed it on the problem area, and now it's time to begin your energy work. So once you've placed that stone wherever the problem is, you're going to want to keep that energy flowing. So take your projective hand, whichever one that might be, and place it on top of the stone. And then once there, you're going to want to visualize all those emotions that you're trying to get rid of, the negative energies, the illness, whatever it might be, being forced from you and into the stone, where the sigil is going to then take it and contain it. So the stone and the sigil are going to work together to act like a bit of a filter. So it traps and holds all of the bad, negative stuff or illness or energies and keeps it locked away in the stone. So once it's trapped in there, you're going to want to pull all of that good, clear, filtered energy back into yourself, as well as all of the good, clear, otherworldly magic that already exists in the stone. You're going to want to pull that into you and visualize it settling into the area that's the problem and begin to heal that area. You're going to continue that cycle of pushing out all of that bad stuff into your hand, trapping it in the stone, pulling that out, all of that filtered goodness, and intaking all of that good otherworldly energy into yourself for as long as you feel is necessary. Once you kind of feel it's complete, you can sever that cycle, stop the energetic flow, and pick up the stone once more. Now, I find it's very polite. It's kind of like a vital step to show a little bit of gratitude. So, what I usually do is I will thank the stone for all it's done for me, and I will show it some love. I usually speak thanks to it. I will sometimes just give it a little peck and say thank you, or I'll just hold it a few minutes and give it some love. Whatever kind of like feels appropriate for you as a way of thanks. So once that's thanked properly, you or someone else will want to take it and return it back to the water source it came from. So you're going to perform here a very kind of symbolic gesture. You're going to take the stone and you're going to throw it back into the water as hard as you possibly can, so that all of that trapped illness, emotions, whatever you put into there are as far away from you as possible. Now, this acts as a sympathetic or symbolic gesture of ridding it from yourself. You're really wanting to chuck that as far as you can, so it's symbolically being thrown away from you. Get that illness, get that bad stuff, get that stuff that you're having trouble processing away from you and as far away as possible. If you used paint, something very interesting is going to start happening. So as soon as it hits the water should begin to wash the sigil away. So it will wear down that sigil and it will start releasing all of the magic bound into it back into the water, where the water can stain it and wash it away and get rid of it. Or conversely, if you did engrave it onto the stone, the water will then begin to slowly smooth it out, work it down, and release that sigil off of the surface of the stone, slowly breaking it down. Now, the reason why I said the engraving typically works better for long-term kind of things that you're having trouble working through is because it's a very slow process. It slowly kind of takes that out, rubs it down and releases it, allowing it to gently be released over a longer period of time, which is a little bit more gentle for things like shadow work and trauma, which is why I usually recommend the engraving. But again, doesn't really matter. Whatever you have access to is good for you. And that's just about it. That's a little piece of my family's traditional form of healing. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and opinions if you do decide to use this magical healing technique, or how you might have adapted it into your own practice. Feel free to post any questions, concerns, or comments down below, and I will do my best to answer them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I love getting those notifications. It's so nice. Just makes you feel good, right? And I don't know. It's just nice to interact with the greater community. Makes you feel a part of something, right? If you would like to progress a little bit more with this pagan specifically, think about subscribing. I do try to post magical content fairly regularly. I have begun to schedule myself, so I should be able releasing some stuff a little bit more regularly. I'm hoping for 2-week increments, so we'll see. I hope to see you guys in another video, and as always, may your path always be interesting, as there's nothing worse than being bored. Have a good one, guys.